This video focuses on the coordinate plane. We're going to look at plotting points and then figuring out how do I find an ordered pair solution. So starting with some vocabulary, so the coordinate system. So the ordered pairs are two numbers associated with a point on a graph. So the first number gives the horizontal location, the second gives the vertical. So these are seen in the sense of x, comma, y, where x represents the horizontal location, this y represents the vertical location. The coordinate, a number in an ordered pair, x coordinate, y coordinate. Okay, so this is the ordered pair, the coordinate is the number. Your x-axis is your horizontal number line, so this runs in that direction. Your y-axis runs up and down. Get a little straighter for you. Your origin is the point of intersection of the two axes. So when your x and your y come together, that point, that dot, that ordered pair is going to be your origin. And then there are four quadrants within this intersection of the x and the y-axis, and those are going to be your quadrants, the four of them. If you need to pause and to get all your vocabulary written down, please do that. Okay, so let's look at the xy coordinate and let's fill in some important stuff. So as we said in our vocabulary, your x-axis runs horizontally, your y-axis runs vertically. We then have this intersection, which is the origin, and that is 0, 0. And that's because this dot represents an x of 0 and a y of 0, which we'll get to here in a minute. All right. Then if I go 5 units to the right, 3 units up, I would get to the coordinate or the ordered pair 5, 3. And that's because 5 to the right is positive, 3 up is positive as well, giving me 5, 3. And that is located in quadrant 1. So your four quadrants, they start in the top right-hand corner and work their way around. So quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. You can write these with regular numbers. Typically, you will see them with Roman numerals. -4, 2 falls in quadrant 2. I can have an ordered pair that falls on the y-axis, like 0, 5. I can have one that falls on the x-axis, like -6, 0. 2, -4 falls in the quadrant 4. So if we look at these, notice here, this ordered pair is positive, positive. So in quadrant 1, every ordered pair that falls in that quadrant will be a positive x and a positive y because you are moving to the right and up. In quadrant 2, you're going to have a negative x and a positive y. That's because you're no longer moving to the right, you're moving to the left. So left is a negative direction, but you're still moving up to get to that quadrant. So that's in quadrant 2. Quadrant 3 is going to be negative, negative, because you're moving to the left and down. Quadrant 4 is positive, negative, because you're moving to the right, but then you're moving down. Okay, so that's your basis, some of your key points for your coordinate plane. So go ahead and pause, use the information we just gave you for that coordinate plane and see if you can answer these 4 questions, and then hit play and I'll tell you the answers. Okay, so what quadrant has a positive x and a negative y? So a positive x, negative y would be your quadrant 4. What quadrant does negative 3.5, negative 2 fall in? So just because this is a decimal doesn't change anything. If it's a negative, negative, I am going to the left and down, which would put it in quadrant 3. Which axis runs horizontally? That's your x. What's the point 0, 0 referred to? Your origin. In a coordinate such as 5, 6, the 5 is the x value and the 6 is the y value. So no matter what, ordered pairs are x value first, y value second. Very good. Okay, so plotting these ordered pairs. So to graph the point corresponding to a particular ordered pair, we got A, B. So we got X, Y. A is a number, positive or negative. B is a number, positive or negative. So the first thing you do is you must start at the origin. So think of ordered pairs as directions. So if I tell you to go A units, you have to figure out, well, I am either going to the right or to the left. So if A is positive, you would move to the right. If A is negative, you would move to the left, and you would move that corresponding number. B is telling you an up or down direction. So do I go up if it's positive? Do I go down if it's negative? Okay, so they're directions. What do I do, right or left? What do I do, up or down? And it's always in that order. Right or left, up or down. Again, if you need to pause and fill in, please do that. So let's look at a couple. So I'll do the first couple and then I'll let you pause and see if you can get the other ones yourself. So if I have the ordered pair 4, 2, 4 is positive, so that tells me to the right. Remember, right or left first, up or down second. So 4 to the right. So I start at the origin and I go 4 to the right, which is right there. Then from that, I'm going to go up 2. So you go 1, 2. So notice I didn't go back to the origin. I'm following the directions. Right 2, or right 4, up 2. So that is 4, 2. All right. To plot negative 3, negative 2. Start at the origin, negative 3, so I go to the left 3, and then I go down 2, which is right there. And that's negative 3, negative 2. It's kind of like playing Battleship, except with Battleship you have a letter and a number. You just have 2 numbers here. So this negative 3 told me to go to the left, negative 2 told me to go down. All right, go ahead and pause and see if you can plot C, D, and E. If you need to try one, hit play, see what I do, then pause it again, see what I do. If you need to do it one at a time, please do that. You can just pause and cut me off when you need to take some time to think on your own. So go ahead and pause. Okay, so 2, negative 3 tells me positive 2 is the right, negative 3 is down. So I go to the right 2, 1, 2, down 3, 1, 2, 3. So that one would be down here in the 4th quadrant, which is 2, negative 3. Good. Okay, so D is 0, 4. So this one's a little different because I'm starting at the origin, but then it says 0, so I do nothing to the right or left. But then I go up 4, so that one would be right here on the y-axis is 0, 4. So this tells me to stay, and then I go up 4. 5, 0 for E tells me to start at the origin, go 5 to the right, which is over here, but then I have a 0, so I stay there. So that's going to be right here on the x-axis. Okay, very good. Okay, so how can I find these ordered pair solutions? So in general, an ordered pair is a solution of an equation in two variables if replacing the variables by the values of the ordered pair result in a true statement. So it's similar to substitution with just a single variable, except now we have two variables to do. So if you know one coordinate of an ordered pair, that is a solution for an equation, you can find the other by substituting and solving the resulting equation. So let's look at an example. So it says complete the ordered pair 3, blank, so that it is a solution to the equation 2x plus 5y equals -4. So we're going to take this 3 and we're going to plug it in for the appropriate variable. So in this ordered pair, it comes first, so that's the x value. So take the 3 and plug it in for the x in that equation. So that gives me 6 plus 5y equals -4. So now I can go and solve this equation for y and figure out what is y in that ordered pair. So subtract 6, get 5y equals -10, divide by 5, and you get y equals -2. So then that goes into that ordered pair. So 3, -2 would be completing that ordered pair for that equation. So let's complete the ordered pair blank -7 so that it is a solution to 3x minus y equals -5. So this -7 is the second, so that's the y value. So we're going to put it in for that y. So we have 3x minus, now instead of the y, I'm going to plug in a -7. I'm going to put parentheses around it because it makes it break up that minus and negative. Now when I go to solve this, these two negatives make a positive, so that's 3x plus 7. Then I can subtract the 7, get 3x equals -12, divide by the 3, and you get x equals -4. So then that would be -4 is the x, -7 is the y. All right. Okay, so if I'm completing the table, same strategy, you're just going to have to probably do it multiple times. So complete the table for the equation y equals 5x. So for this first here, I have y equals, well, instead of the x, I'm putting in a -4. So y equals 5 times -4, which is -20. So that goes right there. For the second one, I now know y is 10 equals 5x. Divide by the 5 to get x by itself, and you get x equals 2, 10 divided by 5. And then the third one, y equals 5 times 3, which is 15. Okay, so just make sure you're plugging in x values for the x in the equation, y values for y in the equation, and then go through your steps to solve equations. All right, go ahead and pause these two. So one with an ordered pair, one with a table. Give yourself plenty of time. Fill in one and then fill in the whole table of 2 and hit play for the explanation. All right, the first one, -3 represents your x value because it comes first. So that's y equals 4 times -3 minus 2. So that's y equals -12 minus 2, which is -14. So this would be -3, -14. Good. Okay, and then the table. So we got -2 first in for x. So watch what I do. So I have a -x That's what's right here, negative x. But instead of the x, I have to plug in a -2. So you should have had 2 negative signs there. If you didn't, you're going to be off on your answer. So be careful with that. If I plug in a -2 for a variable that's already negative, I have to then have 2 negatives. So your equation you were solving should have looked like that. That's going to make this first become a +2 plus 2y equals -6. Then minus the 2, -8, divide by 2, and you get y equals -4. So you should have ended up with a -4 for that in the table. And if you didn't, it might have been because of this first mistake here. Okay, but take note of it and try to be careful when you're doing that. All right, in the next one, I'm plugging in 6 for the y, so that's -x plus 2 times 6 equals -6. That's -x plus 12, and then I subtract the 12, and you get -18. Now I'm not quite done because I need to get rid of this negative. Remember, there's a 1 there, so that's going to give you x equals a +18. So that's what I would have had here, a +18. If you stopped here with the -18, you're not done because this should be a -x. So I can't be done until that's a positive. Okay, and the last one, I'm plugging in a 3 for the x. So because this 3 is positive, then it's just going to be a -3 when I plug in the 3 here. So there's no double negatives in that one. Add it. 2y equals -3. So you should have ended up with a fraction here, and that's okay. So you have -3/2, or you could add -1.5. Either one would have been fine. Or if you had, I guess, or you could even have wrote it as a decimal. Good, very good.